And that's when the cliff is like literally heart-shaped between them.
Where are you girls seeing these hearts? I saw no damn hearts.
Welcome back to Romancing the Monsters. I'm Em.
Hi, I'm S.
I'm Seff.
And today, it's a momentous day.
Tis indeed.
It's something that we never thought would even happen on this podcast, and maybe our listeners are like, why is this an episode? But we are discussing The Force Awakens. Yes, the Star Wars movie. Otherwise known as us trying to make a Reylo out of S, part 1.
Yeah.
Part 1 of 3.
And that is our title.
Yeah. Oh my god, literally. Yes. So this is a little different from our usual content here on the podcast. So let's make one thing clear. I know that everything Star Wars can be a little touchy for some people, so let's make one thing clear. We're not Star Wars experts, nor are we Star Wars nerds. We're Reylos. So if that bothers you, then the door is right there. You know, you can click out.
And don't take anything I say as offensive or get defensive or just in case.
Now I'm scared.
Do we send her through the door or
No. It's just I'm a newbie. I'm new to this.
Okay,
and just remember that. It's just I don't mean to offend anyone.
Yeah, of course.
And if this is the first time that you're joining us for an episode because you are also a fellow Reylo and you thought this would be interesting, feel free to go check out our other content. Usually we talk about romance novels. Monster romance is also a big thing on our channel. Our podcast. We're YouTubers now. But yeah, so feel free to go check out our other stuff. It's different, but hopefully our personalities will shine through today so you can have a feel of what it's usually like.
I mean, I hope this episode is the best reflection of my personality. I hope I don't get too bitter. I'm praying I don't. I don't think I will. I think I'm okay.
In our hearts, deep down, Seff and I are Reylos. You know, no matter what happened, we are Reylos. We love this ship. S is discovering this ship. So, how about this is a good place to start, perhaps? Seff and I have already discussed in a prior episode, our history with Star Wars, where it began, how it evolved, where it is now. So if you want to hear about that, go check out our Love Hypothesis episode, which is a Reylo fanfic turned trade pub book. So that's where it is. But S was not a part of that episode, and she's a newbie. So I'm just curious to know, what do you know about Star Wars? Because you're not like... You know, you've seen the movies, correct?
Yes.
Have you seen all of them?
No. I have seen, every time I go over my sister's house, she always has either a Star Wars movie or a Marvel movie playing. So I've seen parts of like the previous Star Wars movies. And like James, her fiance, has tried to like, kind of explain the storyline. Like who's who and what's what. But for this movie, I played it, and I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Right? Is this the one? Is this the one that I watched where I told you I went to the movies and the whole nachos thing?
No, that was the last one, the third one.
Okay, so this one I played it. I didn't think I've seen it before, but I played it and like I kind of knew what was going on.
Well, I mean, I feel like I remember you telling me you've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you probably went with Veronica. when it like first
Probably.
premiered or something.
Okay. Then maybe, because it was very familiar. So
Yeah. We would love to have Veronica and Gabby. If you know Gabby, she's been on the podcast before. We're going to try and have them on at least one episode. So maybe for The Last Jedi, maybe for The Rise of Skywalker. Just so we can all be better together. But today's all about The Force Awakens, episode 7. I mean, it's kind of interesting. So you do have some idea of like what this like 9 movie arc, what happens before this? Question mark?
A little bit.
Okay. So you're kind of watching this as like its own separate thing, which is interesting. I think it's probably how I see it as well, to be perfectly honest.
But that's how you watched it too, right, Marge? No, you
I've
watched
seen
the
all
prequel movies.
I've seen all of Star Wars, but I think when I first saw these movies, I hadn't seen the first 6 in a long, long time. So it probably did feel to me kind of like it does to us as like its own trilogy, you know, its own separate thing.
So can I ask a question then?
Of course.
Instead of asking like towards the end, I'll ask it now. So both of you have been Star Wars fans since like the beginning, or did you guys become Star Wars fans mainly with these last 3?
Well, for me, I remember watching the prequel movies as they were coming out, like when I was a kid. But I wasn't like obsessed with it. I just remember, I don't know, I guess noticing Darth Maul out of all people, and obviously Anakin, which is like, you know, Kylo Ren's grandfather. So I wasn't like obsessed with it. I wasn't like invested at all with it as a child. And then cut to high school. My teacher actually showed us the episodes. It was episode 6 randomly, and I was like, oh my gosh, this character arc of Darth Vader, I'm obsessed. And then I just went back and watched all the movies, and that's when I became like a super fan. Then 2 years later, I was so excited for this movie to come out. And I remember like checking the cast when they got announced. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm loving these people. And yeah, so I was like a part of it through the process from 2013 onwards.
Yeah, I'll forever be sad that I wasn't like a part of it in those early days of the sequel trilogy. Forever sad.
Yeah.
For me, I had a phase as a kid when I was like 6 or 7, where I was obsessively watching episode 2 and 3 because I was kind of in love with Anakin.
Your tragic childish heart.
Yeah, I mean, I was like full on pretending I had like a lightsaber and shit. Like I had a phase, okay?
Gift wrapping paper? It wasn't gift wrapping paper. It was a lightsaber.
I mean, I was obsessed with Padme's like wardrobe. Like I was really into designing clothes at the time. Like I really thought I was gonna be a wedding dress designer at that point in my life. Also like / I guess someone who would have lightsaber fights, whether that be a Jedi or a Sith. I don't know.
And a tortured husband. Weren't you obsessed with Anakin as well?
Oh, of course. I mean, I was into Anakin. Like he was my first crush as a kid. First crush. So
mine was Darth Maul.
I feel like it checks out for both of us. And then I stopped for many years until was it 2017 when Gabby sent me sexy fan art that she meant to send Seff, and I went, hold on a minute. But I had seen The Force Awakens when it first came out. Like I did see it, but it kind of didn't go further than that until the fan art capitalized. And then I was forever changed. So, Seff, what is a Star Wars?
I can't believe I'm actually be talking
right?
about this. Anyways, this feels so surreal. Like I can't believe it.
I know. I'm like, am I hallucinating this right now, or am I dreaming this? Like, are we actually talking about this on the podcast? What?
I had like 3 hours of sleep last night, so I don't know if this is like a fever dream. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been edging this moment for 2 years on the podcast, so we're here.
The time. Whoa, I can't speak. I was just gonna say the time has finally come.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so basically, this movie is about a scavenger and an ex-stormtrooper, who enlist the help of legendary smugglers / freedom fighters, Han Solo and Chewbacca, to transport a droid carrying information regarding the whereabouts of a long-lost Jedi, which we know is Luke Skywalker. So the movie starts off with Poe Dameron, who hid the map in his BB-8. Not his...
His BB unit, called BB-8, yeah.
There you go. His BB unit in the droid. So basically in hopes that the droid would stay safe on Jakku. But the First Order is after him, and now Rey, Finn, Han Solo, and Chewbacca are, they're on this top secret mission of taking this droid before the First Order comes and, gets that information, because we know Kylo Ren is after this droid as well, because he wants the map to destroy Luke Skywalker. And yeah, that is the general idea of the first movie.
Right. Okay, so before we jump into a more in-depth discussion of what actually happens in this movie, we need thoughts and opinions here, and of course, S is gonna have to go first, because she's the one that, this is all on her. The spotlight is all on you in these episodes.
What did I do?
So, did you like it? Did you not like it? How, your thoughts?
Okay. So, I did end up enjoying it. It took me a little bit to get into, but I'm here. I did get hooked. I enjoyed it.
Are you hooked on Reylo?
There's something there. There's an intrigue there that wasn't there before.
What are your thoughts on, the characters you're introduced to?
I really liked Rey. From what I remember, she's an orphan. She lost her family, right?
Yeah.
The interactions that she had with Kylo were really interesting. And I am looking forward to seeing more interactions in the future. I didn't really care for Finn, his character, and
fair.
Yeah, I didn't care for him. For Poe, I guess I was just kind of indifferent in regards to him, but
I was wondering how you would feel about it. Personally, I don't like Poe. I never have, but I was wondering how you would feel about him, because I know you like Oscar Isaac so much that I was like, maybe she'll like him just because it's Oscar.
I mean, he's hot, but
Oscar Isaac's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that's enough to make you like a character, okay?
He is.
Sometimes the character is just hot.
That's daddy right there. But yeah, his character is there. It's whatever. I guess I was noticing a lot, the way the acting and the way, the movie was shot, it was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
I noticed just a little bit,
It's very. It was meant to pander very much to episode 4, to the fans of the original trilogy. So it felt cheesy because of that.
Yeah. And then it has his little funny moments as well.
Who?
That.
Oh, you mean the movie? Okay,
the movie. Yeah, there was little moments that were funny. I'm intrigued with Kylo Ren.
Okay. What about him intrigues
Yeah,
you?
tell us. We need to focus on this a little bit. Let's linger in this moment.
His hair, to begin with.
Yes, his princely locks.
He has really nice hair. So I'll start off by saying that when these movies first started coming out, I was watching the show Girls.
I will forever be bitter about that, S.
Yeah. So I was watching Girls, and his character in that show, I hated him. I hated his character. So after I finished watching that show and then seeing Adam Driver come out in other things, I couldn't take him seriously.
Yeah.
So
I remember you telling me that.
I guess that was one of the main reasons why it didn't really intrigue me as much to start these movies.
Yeah.
But that aside, I'm watching the movie and I'm having a new perspective. I really like him. I see him. I can see the appeal to him. I can see why everybody has gone crazy for Adam Driver and the whole Kylo Ren character and all that. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I want to see more. There were some scenes where I would love to read some fan fiction based off of certain scenes and certain things that he says.
Girl, there's fanfic for everything.
I'm sure. But yeah, all that to say that I'm looking forward to watching the other two movies.
Seff, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, because you were the one that it was probably the most difficult for you to actually watch this.
Yeah. I won't say that it was an easy start. I I literally had to like start this movie at least like 3 times because like I would just be like, I can't watch this and like shut it down. And then like anyway, so it just took me a while to actually start watching. And then me being me, of course I'm bitter about the whole thing. And like I was just hating every second of it. I was like, this is so dumb. Why the heck am I watching this stupid movie? But then like as like Rey's music started playing and all of that, like I started getting teary-eyed. I was like,
girl, I did too. When her music came on, when she was like, when her introduction is like happening and stuff, I fully got teary-eyed. I was like, this is emotional for me. Like, I had such a deep emotional connection with that character. And it kind of made me realize that I missed it, like it felt like there was a hole.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. Like, I really felt like I missed these characters, Kylo and Rey as well. Like, I loved them so much. Like, they were such a big part of my life for so many years that I was kind of sad that I let them go. But yeah, no, I got emotional. And I also got really emotional at like the part where Rey sees the older lady and she's looking over at the older lady. Also a scavenger. And I was like, damn, this girl really oh, no, I can't spoil it. But like, I was just like, yeah. Anyways, so I was really emotional, but I'm kind of happy I did it.
Do you think it helped?
I ripped the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Marge, how was it for you?
It was good. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I feel like I'm very good at moving on. Which is not necessarily a good thing, to be perfectly honest. But when something hurts, I move the fuck on. And I'm very good at cutting things out of my life. So it feels, I felt fine, to be perfectly honest. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, rewatching this, I have fully parted with my bitter ass emotions about
I wish I was like that well.
Well, it's not necessarily a good thing, though. It's just not necessarily a good thing. Like, sometimes I do cut things off a little too easily, This is turning into therapy, but anyways.
So tell me how you feel.
But yeah, so it was fine. Like, I don't have that like bitter or sadness attached to these movies anymore. But I will say, strangely enough, because it's been like 2.5 years or so since I've seen a single Star Wars movie, it felt like watching it for the first time again. Like, I was noticing things that I don't think I've ever noticed, in the sense that like I was noticing how musical it is, like how much music there is in these movies. Yeah, I don't know, like it was bizarre in a way. Like, I was like, oh my god, this feels weirdly new. And also, like, I feel like it's been probably even longer since I've seen The Force Awakens than The Last Jedi. But it was overall like a good experience, and it just brought back all those little feels that I had. And, there are certain scenes in this movie that it doesn't matter how many times you've seen the scene. 20 times, 25 times, 30 times, when it comes on, you're just sucked to the screen. Like, you're just completely sucked into what's going on the screen, because it's that magnetic, it's just, you can't look away. We'll talk about this scene.
I know what scene you're talking about, or what scenes you're talking about. Yeah. But no, I agree with that. I actually didn't mention before, really quickly, that this is my first time revisiting these movies after watching all 3 of them. So I've never watched The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, like, after watching TROS. So I'm seeing it differently.
Let's get into it. How about we start with the introduction of the man of the hour?
Oh my gosh.
Can I tell you the joy that I had, like just pure joy at seeing that man's ship on the screen and like his music coming on. Like, that's a feeling I can't even put to words. You know what I mean? Like, there's just hearing his theme with his ship coming down and he's being so dramatic. It's like, honestly, Force Awakens Kylo was so dramatic, and I love it.
He was so dramatic, but I loved it. Oh my gosh. So hot.
Yeah, so
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would definitely recommend. As how do you feel? Okay, here's a question that we don't usually ask. How do you feel about his costume? Because I feel like he has a very hot costume, and when you see him appear that first time, it's doing things, right?
It is, yes. This time around it did some things. The mask and then the robe and everything. It did some things. But I think it did some things because, like here you mentioned, like there was intrigue with me starting Hermione, and my first fanfic was Manacled, and in Manacled, Draco wears like the mask and like the robes, and he has his mask. So seeing that mask and a robe in a different setting and a different with his voice and like the gloves, definitely the gloves.
Oh yeah.
The Force
very sexy.
being used in very sexy ways.
Yeah.
It's a sexy mask. Like, I know they went through so many iterations of that mask before they actually got to where they got. And, like, I know that they were probably thinking, like, what's gonna sell the most, you know, in, like, toys.
Yeah.
But it's a sexy mask. Like, it is. So he walks out of his ship. He's all like, you know, I will show you the dark side. And
I love how you're not trying to make this sexual, but like his lines are so sexual.
they really are, especially in this one. It's like, holy, are we supposed to not read into this? Are we?
Right?
Like, he's stopping that what the fuck is it called? See, this is the kind of that blaster. Thank you. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I would have known 2 years ago, but I completely forgot what everything is called. But yeah, so he stops the like blaster thing, bolt, whatever, you know, mid-air with the Force. Like, that's sexy as hell.
And like he keeps it up, and like it's just like a thought in his mind. Like I think his hands are down at that point, but like he's still like massacring a whole village, and then like he just looks over and he's like, yep, and it just like, you know, continues on.
And like, just for context, like, this was a huge thing. Like, this was a first. Like, nobody had done that prior to this movie, correct?
Massacring a village.
No, they've definitely done that. AKA Anakin killing a bunch of kids.
I know.
No, I mean the blaster thingy midair, like stopping something midair like that and like keeping it up like that. I think that's a first, or at least like from my memory, people were like, "Oh my god, he did what?"
So is that like a scene in theaters where it was just like screaming, like all shocked and like
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I did see this one opening weekend, but I don't recall anyone like, you know, reacting to that. I think it was more so like, oh, like he's actually like a big bad.
I mean, everything about Kylo was like a source of conversation at first. Like his lightsaber, a hot lightsaber. Like, they knew what they were doing. Like, I refuse to believe that they didn't know what they were doing. His lightsaber is hot. It's like crackling and purring, and it's broken as fuck, and it's just like, it's fiery. And
one right thing that J.J. Abrams did was give him that lightsaber, because honestly, love it. It was so hot, and I loved how it like resembled his inner like turmoil. Loved it.
Just the sound
Anyways,
of
we need to
it.
move
Like,
on.
it sounds hot. Anyways. All of this to say, that was like a huge thing. People, like the fan bros, were like, oh my god. Sorry, not the fan bros, the dude bros were like, oh my god. He has like, you know, it's like a sword type of thing, because that's never
And it's not
been
even
thing
a
before.
working lightsaber. Like, why does it look like that?
Yeah.
Anyways, we are not coming here with negativity, clearly. Let's
Are
just
we
drop
now?
that and move on.
I love how your guys' voice changed when you guys were talking about dude
Because we
bros or
hate
whatever.
them.
Because they do sound like that.
Yeah, in my head, they sound like this. Anyways, cutting to that scene, we get Poe, who gets captured, and he sends BB-8 away. Poe's captured, and then that man who gave Poe the map, he tells he says to Kylo.
Whose name
basically.
we can't remember.
It was like, it wasn't a Lore Santaka. No, I made that up.
Yeah,
Shit.
Santaka. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Santaka. Okay, there you go.
Something like that, yeah.
So basically, he tells Kylo, you can't deny the shit. What was it?
You cannot deny the truth that is your family.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but
something about like the dark side, like, because he says, I will show you the dark side or something like that, and doesn't he say like you did not arise from the dark side? So, you know, that's your first introduction to the fact that there's more to this character than meets the eye. Perhaps he did not originate from the dark side. Perhaps he once was a very good boy turned very bad boy.
So we get more of a backstory, right, with the next movies?
Yeah. He's a princess. He is literally a space prince.
he's a Disney prince.
Okay, rewind. So
Padme and Anakin got married. Padme was a queen. They had twins, Leia and Luke. Leia married Han Solo, and they had Ben Solo / Kylo Ren. So his grandfather is Anakin, Darth Vader, and his grandmother is Padme, Queen Amidala.
Yeah, but also Leia is Princess Leia. She was adopted by, this man who, raised her, and she was a princess there. And that's why he's known as also, a prince, because his mom was a princess.
She would have been a princess anyway, even if she hadn't been.
Yeah, I know.
Because the twins were separated at birth.
So they were raised not knowing who their parents were or any of that.
It's a whole thing in this family.
Is this where people have said the twins were separated and then they meet up and they kiss or something like that because they don't know they're related or something?
Yeah.
Right?
Because George Lucas didn't know until, was it episode 5, that he was gonna make them siblings. Like, they didn't start out that way. They weren't siblings until they were. So he had them kiss before making the decision. Yeah.
I know.
So
the
weird.
70s. It was a whole other world, honestly, what you could do. I kind of miss it, to be honest. Like, just
I know, right?
balls to the walls, wild ass shit happening, and everyone's like, okay, I guess they're siblings now.
Anyways, all this to say, as we do get more of a background to Kylo Ren and his story in a way.
But where were you going with the whole Lord Santaka and
that's where I wanted to go. You
okay.
literally just cleared it up when you said that there's more to Kylo Ren. We know
okay.
right off the bat that there's more to him.
So BB-8 makes his merry little way through the desert until he reaches Rey. Well, before that, we get this introduction to Rey. She's scavenging for parts in an abandoned ship from one of the previous wars. It's a lonely ass introduction. This music, I cannot tell you what this music does to me when it comes on. Even when I'm not actually watching the movie and I'm just listening to the piece of music, it is lonely.
She is so lonely. And her introduction was just I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, you describe it.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel seeing Rey right off the bat?
Did you feel the loneliness, or were you just...
I felt the loneliness when she was cooking by herself and she was struggling to find food to eat and stuff. And when she sat outside the ship all alone, that's when I felt okay, this girl's an orphan. She's by herself.
And she's been by herself for a while.
And then you see the little tallies on her wall. She's counting something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So we get more of her, right? In the next, a deeper dive into...
She's the main character.
Nope. Okay. Okay.
That was great.
Disregard I asked that.
But did you notice, fun fact, the bell and the flower? Yeah, there's a bell and there's a flower wilting, a wilting rose or something, a wilting desert flower of some kind. Back in the speculation days,
Oh, God.
pre-TLJ, This
with
was
all
huge.
of us with our tinfoil hats.
Tiaras.
Sorry, yes.
I mean, a lot of people like to think of this as like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Kylo being the beast and Rey being beauty, and you know, there's a bell and there's a wilting flower. Do you see the kind of shit we had to put up with? And I mean that like in the best way. Like this we were holding on to shit like this.
No, I took that and ran with it. I was like, this is how it's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
I see it.
But were the Reylos right though? Were the Reylos
Oh,
right?
yes.
So the bell and the flower, it really was a thing, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, us.
Did you feel that in any way, yes?
No, I did not see or I didn't make any of those connections.
I'll point all of them out to you. There's a lot of little things like I think Maz calls him or she says those beasts as he's like, you know, like arriving on Takodana, stuff like that. I swear to God, we were holding on for dear life to all these little things, but it paid off because the Reylos predicted the entirety of The Last Jedi. So we weren't like looking in the wrong places. I'm just saying. Yeah, so she you know, she's cooking and then like she puts on the helmet and she's watching the ships fly away off planet, which is the saddest ass thing I've ever fucking seen cuz you know that she's longing for that, but she must stay cuz she's forever waiting for someone to come for her. The theme of belonging is huge in this trilogy.
Yeah.
Of who's gonna come back for you when you need them most. Anyways.
Why am I starting to tear up?
Are you really?
Marge, you can't talk about these things.
But I mean,
go.
someone did come back, okay? Anyway, so she meets little BB-8 in the desert, and I love how she's so... Like, I had forgotten how... Not mean she is, but, like, she's a little grumpy at the beginning of this movie.
She's, distrusting. Mistrusting is the right word. She's mistrusting.
Yeah, like, she's kind of in that mindset where she's spent so much time alone that she kind of convinced herself that she's better off that way.
Yeah.
So she's kind of, distrusting of BB-8. She's kind of like, don't invade my space. Like, I'm fine. Like, go that way. Like, I don't need a friend type of thing.
Yeah.
But BB-8 perseveres. Because he's adorable. How do you like BB-8, us?
I love BB-8.
Yeah.
His little beep boop beep boop little sounds.
That was a great imitation.
I know, it's like you sound like him.
Yeah. And she says a line that breaks me again. I know all about waiting. Yeah, she knows all about waiting. And I also like the line where she's like, "Oh, classified, really? Me too."
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should wait till the third movie.
Let's wait until the third.
Yeah.
One.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Rey and BB-8's beginnings, were so cute. I loved them. I thought their friendship was so cute to see, like how it started. And I just love Rey, and I think Rey is such a great character right off the bat. Like she's just great. I don't know where I'm going with that, but saying that she's great.
But she does have, you know, flaws, and you know, when she goes to Ankar Plot, is that his name? Ankar Plot.
Yeah.
Why is that difficult to say? And she has the opportunity to have like a lot more portions if she was to sell him BB-8. She does hesitate, which like I do like these little moments where it's like, well, is she gonna, you know, it's a tough life in the desert. Like, am I gonna do it? Am I gonna sell this BB unit to feed myself, or am I not gonna do that because, you know, he deserves to not be sold?
Yeah.
Like he's just a piece of junk.
Yeah. But, like, we haven't really seen her upbringing on this planet, on Jakku. Like, we didn't really get to see any of that. We don't know how tough her life was. We know right off the bat, like, getting food is a hardship. And she barely gets food with whatever she brings anyway. So, I mean, like, you don't know where her mindset was at that point. And, like, honestly, my heart breaks for her.
That guy Ankar Plot, he basically was like her parent figure on that planet. So that tells you something about like what sort of attachments she has had growing up.
That big dude that tried to give her the food and stuff, that gives her one portion.
Yeah.
That's no daddy figure.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah. That's fucked up. Oh, that makes me sad.
And she's been on that planet since what, like 6?
Yeah,
I want to say 6 years old, and she's
19.
We have a nice, comfy little 10-year age gap here.
Ooh.
We love to see it. So, Seff, do you want to talk about Rey and Finn meeting up?
So basically, we didn't talk about it, but Finn, during the first scene of the movie, we kind of see him hesitate and, in a way, wake up from his training. He is trained to be a stormtrooper, and he sees all this death, and he looks horrified. We obviously can't see his face at this point. He's wearing his helmet, but he slowly starts to realize that what the First Order is doing is probably wrong, and he decides to help break out Poe Dameron, who is a prisoner on Kylo Ren's ship, as Kylo Ren has interrogated him, and so what happens is they break out, Poe and Finn, and Poe is presumed dead. Finn doesn't know what happened to him. They land on Jakku, and he doesn't know what to do. So Finn just goes, and he's like in need of water, and finds water in the most disgusting way. But he instantly sees the BB unit and also Rey, who is kind of like in a scuffle with Ankar Plot's, I guess, henchmen. And so what happens is Rey and Finn meet in a way that, I guess, like, they just meet right off the bat. What happened again? Oh, yeah. So BB-8 told Rey that, this guy's wearing Poe's jacket. I mean, like, we assume it. We don't speak, droid. But Rey is, like, right off the bat, like, angry, territorial. And she's like, what the heck are you doing? And attacks Finn, and thus starts their friendship in a way. They instantly get attacked by stormtroopers and TIE fighters, and they kind of form an alliance in that way, knowing that they have to get to the Resistance and give BB-8 to the Resistance.
We switch to, Rey and Finn have this whole thing with the Millennium Falcon, where, they shoot stuff in the sky, and it looks cool, and there's music, and we win, yay!
It's great, yeah. They escape, they're in space, and we cut to, I know what scene you want to get to, go ahead.
to Kylo, one of his men, tells him that they managed to escape, the BB unit managed to escape Jakku with 2 fugitives, and then the line, "What girl?"
Yeah.
And the way he turns around and, like, stares at him.
Yeah.
Or drags him in.
And then he has a temper tantrum and literally, like, slices, like, the whole, like, everything, the whole room.
And the thing here is that for years, we were like, why is he so suddenly interested in what girl? As if he's heard about a girl before. Should we talk about this now, or?
Yeah, because I want to know if there was...
You talk about it.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what to mention. Okay, so in the comic books, are we talking about that scene?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Rey on Jakku, as a child, she felt something in the Force when Ben Solo became Kylo Ren, like when he fell to the dark side. So
She felt it?
She felt it as a child. And he, like, I think he felt her too. I don't know.
He did feel her. Yeah, they both felt each other, but Rey in the comic book, it definitely emphasizes the fact that Rey, when he turned to the dark side, she felt it, and something about, like, her feeling cold.
Yeah.
And that's when the connection actually started, because we didn't know this, you know, up until when The Rise of Skywalker released, because up until then we thought that the connection between them starts in this movie but later on. But it was always there from the start. So his interest in what girl, I think, is because he felt that he had this connection to a certain
with
girl.
someone.
Yeah.
So my heart did a little pitter patter, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I kind of know where this is going."
And he, like you said, he has his temper tantrum. We love to see it. Kylo being dramatic again.
Ugh, love it. The amount of times they probably have to do repairs on his ships.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of fanfics out there where it's like all the engineers aboard are like terrified of Kylo, and they're always like having to fix his shit like again.
Honestly, side note, when Adam Driver did his Matt the Radar Technician skit, I seriously love it so much.
I love it too.
And as if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you watch it sometime soon.
After we watch the movies, though, it might take you out of them just because they're like comedic.
Yeah. After the movies, then.
But yeah, they were great. He did too. So
he did, yeah. It was Matt the Radar Technician, and what was the other one? Randy?
Anyway, it's undercover boss, so like it's Kylo Ren pretending to be like someone else in the, you know, First Order, and it's funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what girl? And then he strangles the fuck out of that guy.
Yes.
Again, we love quick anger.
And the gloves. We love all of that.
Oh, we love the gloves. And then we have our first look at Snoke.
We do.
The evil mastermind of the series, or is it?
So what is he? Is he above everybody else?
He is the supreme leader of the First Order. So the First Order is like the bad people. He's the leader of it. And he's also Kylo Ren's master of, like, you know, so like he's the one that, like, Kylo Ren learned from Snoke the dark side, basically.
Yeah. So Kylo Ren is still his apprentice, whereas Hux is General Hux. So he's like in charge of the army, I guess you would call it. Whereas Kylo is not in charge of that. He's an apprentice in the Force.
Yeah.
The dark side of the Force. Which I think kind of still places him above General Hux, just because he's a Force user. So therefore, he should be hotter and just,
Yeah.
Which
Speaking of Hux, did you like feel any type of way about him?
Yes.
What?
There was something there. There was something there. I don't know what it was, but
I will say there's a crack ship in The Last Jedi that I'm actually like in love with, but I won't talk about it obviously until we get to that.
A lot of people shipped Hux and Kylo here in The Force Awakens.
I did, yeah, I know.
That was a thing for a while. I mean, I'm sure it still is for some people, but the rivalry between them and how they're both fighting for Snoke's attention, and
I see the appeal.
There's
for
fic
sure.
of that out there if you're interested. Yes, but
is like, I see it, I want it.
yeah.
I mean, I was into it too. Like, back in the like pre the Last Jedi days, I was into both Reylo and was it called Kylux?
Kylux, yeah.
I was into that too. There's some good fan art out there, just saying. Anyways, the important thing here is that Snoke says, there has been an awakening. Have you felt it? And he says,
awakening in the Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, just there's been an awakening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just there's been an awakening, but we know he means in the Force.
Well, then that just makes it seem like there's been a sexual awakening.
That too. But anyway, Kylo says yes. So he's felt Rey awakening to the Force, but then how does that make sense in the grand scheme of things? Because has she low-key known her whole life that she was Force sensitive?
No, I don't think that was the case. I think maybe like the awakening was felt when she was trying to escape the TIE fighters, because she did like tune into like a part inside of her that helped her defeat them. So maybe that was like the awakening they were talking about. I think like she was always fated to be like the, you know, the yin to yang or whatever. Like even as a child, I feel like that was always a thing. So I don't think it was just like awoken at like the beginning of the movie. I think maybe she had moments. Maybe she just like, I don't know, wrote it off as like luck or just like, you know, eerie coincidences with her awakenings. But I think like maybe the cataclysm could have been that. I don't know.
Well, it would make sense if like he's just slowly getting deeper and deeper into the dark, so she's naturally slowly awakening to the light. And then he talks about, and we get the reveal that Han Solo is Kylo's father.
We're at the part. Okay, so did you at that point did you figure out that Kylo Ren was Han Solo's son?
No. But do they mention it? I mean, it didn't really hit until the bridge scene.
He briefly says when they're looking at the segment of the map, he briefly mentions that Luke had an academy and there was one boy who turned to the dark side, killed off everyone, and left. That was supposed to be Ben Solo. That's Ben Solo.
Yeah, no, I didn't make the connection.
But then Snoke did say, like, you know, your father, Han Solo. Like, they're in the...
Right.
Yeah, in that scene, yeah, he does
of
say your father.
That's right.
And then he says, even you, Master of the Knights of Ren, have never felt such a test. And Kylo replies, by the grace of your training, I will not be seduced.
The fact, like, the word choice here, guys.
But they knew what they were doing. I will go down. There's no way that this was not planned. I will not be seduced to the light side, really?
Honestly, agree with you. I think from the beginning, Rey and Kylo were always supposed to be a thing. Reylo was supposed to, like, you know, have this, like, romantic pairing, I guess, in a way. Mm-hmm. They could have easily said, like, I will not, like, fall to the light or something like that. Like, they could have literally used any other word.
I will not turn back to the light. I won't. Seduced.
Yeah, seduced is a very, like, purposeful word used here.
And that made it into so many Reylo edits. Oh, we love
the first Reylo edits, guys, with, like, The Force Awakens and, like, all the videos on YouTube. I'm telling you, like, they were, like, intense. Loved it.
What's that? The moon... what is it called? Moonlight?
Oh my gosh, I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, God. That's, like, the Reylo edit of back in the day. I'll send it to you as Moon Dust.
Moon Dust.
I'm sending it to you right now. I watched that shit so many times. so
this is something that you haven't sent already?
No.
That I haven't watched?
No.
No. Okay, so I just, like, this is one thing that I picked up. I don't know if I, like, picked it up, you know, when we first watched it or whatever, or, like, the many times after we watched it. But, like, I really felt like the way the camera, like, pans out was very purposeful here. Like, Kylo's looking up to, like, this giant figure, which we already know is, like, a ginormous projection of, like, Snoke, 'cause Snoke's not actually there. We see Kylo looking up to, like, you know, the giant Snoke, and he appears very childlike in the way, like, that, like, his head's raised after finding out that he needs to now seek out his father and his father's ship. I just felt like, yeah, he looked very childlike. And we see this shot of, like, a tiny Kylo Ren looking up as, like, a child would look up to someone. And, like, you know, he's being, like, berated by Snoke. And it's just, like, he looks like a very lost child and, like, a lonely boy. Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, in a way, he turns into a child when faced with the memories of his past. And maybe in fear when he's faced with Snoke, I don't know, but...
Originally, this scene was filmed with Kylo unmasked. That was going to be the first time that we were going to see him unmasked in the movie. And they CGI'd his mask on, because his face was too much to look at in that scene, something like that. Like, his facial expression is just, like, it was too much. And then also because it meant more when he actually takes it off. And it's with Rey the first time.
Yeah, for Rey, not with Rey, for Rey.
Yeah, for Rey.
No, and it just made me more sad about Kylo. And, like, I know, like, I'm a Kylo sympathizer. I get it. But it's just, like, seeing him look so much like a little boy in that moment. I was like, oh, my gosh.
We have Kylo doing his, like, meditation thing where he's connecting with the ghost of his grandfather. Or is it? More on that later. 3 movies from now. And he says, forgive me. I feel it again. The pull to the light. So this boy, okay, 5 seconds ago, he was talking to Snoke, being all like, I will not be seduced. And now 5 minutes later, he's like, hold on a minute, I feel it again. Like, is that not funny to anyone else?
I think it was just like him referring to like the whole situation in general. It's like, you know, my father, like I'm gonna have to face my father. Like I feel this pull to the light again, like this real like memory of my past.
But what is the pull to the light if not Rey? And
obviously, we know it's Rey.
You know, his connection to Rey, who is in the light side. Anyways, that too made it into a lot of Reylo edits. A lot.
Yeah.
Rey, Han, Finn, BB-8 make it to Takodana.
Yeah.
To go talk to Maz Kanata about sounded really Canadian just then. About well, basically, like, why are they there?
To get to the resistance.
Yeah, just because it's a resistance base, right? Or something
no,
like that.
well, to get to the resistance. I don't think they knew exactly where to go, or is that their point of contact?
I feel like there was a reason why they made it there, but
honestly, to be quite honest, I should have been doing other things as I was watching this. So like anytime Kylo or Rey was not on screen, I was just yeah.
Finn is wanting to leave because he's a coward. Rey is like, no, we have to do this. We have to, you know, see this through. Make sure BB-8 goes back to the Resistance. Yes.
Were there ever any vibes where people were, or were there ever any moments where people were shipping Finn with?
Don't even come
there.
at me with that. Because you know what?
We're not going
because there. I noticed like 2 instances, right? Or maybe a couple where I'm just
you
like.
felt icky, right? Sorry for the Finn Rey shippers out there. I hate them with a passion.
Yeah, like I noticed little moments, and I'm just kind of thinking like how the fandom reacted to that, and how did you girls did you guys feel that chemistry between them?
Heck no,
did you guys...
never felt it. There were so like the main, I guess not main 2 ships, but like the 2 opposing ships was Finn Rey, and Reylo, after the first movie, and yeah, it was just not a good time. They were awful. I blocked so many of them.
He may be into her, but she's very much like not.
She friend-zoned him at the end of the movie, guys. Like,
yeah, like, don't hold my hand. Why are you still holding my hand? I don't have a boyfriend. It's none of your business.
Oh, yeah, him
you
asking
know,
her
like,
about
it's
the
very
boyfriend.
much like her constantly, like, being like, no.
yeah,
Go
and then
away.
in the end, she basically says, like, goodbye, my friend. Or, like, we'll see each other soon, my friend. And that was it.
Or, like, when he's leaving Takodana, she's like, okay, bye, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
Yeah, I mean, their friendship, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but, like, I felt like it was so forced from the get-go.
Yeah. I never felt the friendship between the trio, ever.
Like, I don't know if it's just, like, maybe Daisy and John just didn't have, like, chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, because, you know, there are, like, some people that have amazing friendship chemistry, and I just never felt it there.
Yeah.
And
or
I don't
with
know,
Poe.
I guess, like, in a perfect world, I wish I did, but I never shipped them romantically.
Poe and Finn had a lot of chemistry.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
I'm sad. I'm sad that they didn't go for it. It's
honestly,
right there.
Watching this movie made me so much more sad because I, like, not forgotten about how much I shipped them, but, like, I just... Yeah, I don't know. I just watched this again and I was like, yeah, I ship you guys. I still ship it. In my head, it happened.
Yeah. What do you think of FinnPoe?
Poe and Finn?
Yeah.
I didn't see
no
with them to know. I mean, I saw a nice friendship form.
Sorry,
you know?
the way Poe bit his lip when he was checking out Finn in his own jacket.
Wait, what? Did I miss that?
Girl,
how did you miss it? He literally did a full bottom lip bite.
Yeah.
No.
He really
did.
did.
Stop. Let's see.
Like, looking up and down, biting his lip. Like, it looks good on you. Keep it.
I remember that, but I didn't get those vibes.
That's my jacket. Oh. No. Keep it. It suits you.
Okay, I see it. I saw what I needed to see. Thank you very much.
And just like that, a new FinnPoe is born. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So Finn decides to leave, whatever. Rey, finds a chest in the kind of like, how would you call it?
The catacombs of the building.
Yeah. So this like castle thingy, Maz's castle, I guess.
She like has a feeling, and she hears like, I guess, echoes of things, and then she follows it, and then like you said, she finds this treasure chest. And inside, what's inside
there is a lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, and she touches it, and when she does, she gets this like force vision. We see her as like this 6 years old girl, her parents leaving her on Jakku with the ship, and she's kind of screaming. Interestingly, we see Kylo twice in this vision, and it's the first time that she's ever seeing him, like full on seeing him, or at least that we know of. So she sees him with the Knights of Rain, because I was gonna say the Knights of Ren in the rain. The Knights of Rain. He's kind of like walking towards her, like almost as if he can see her in that vision, like almost like she's there.
Yeah.
That was a major source of speculation back in the days. And then we also see him in the forest. He kind of like jumps out and like scares her type of thing.
Yeah.
Which is hot. Anyways.
Very.
In the book, just to let you know, Wes, that in the book, when she has this vision, there's a male voice.
This line will haunt me for the rest of my days.
Who is not Han Solo, who is not Finn, who is not anyone. It's a male voice that she says she hasn't heard yet. It says, "I'll come back for you, sweetheart. I promise." And sweetheart is the endearment that Han Solo uses for Leia. So who else would use sweetheart than their son later on? Yeah, and that is a sentence that will forever haunt us until we actually figure out what the fuck is going on here. I'll come back for you, sweetheart. I promise.
I need fix this minute.
Oh, there is.
There's so many.
Yeah.
But one thing you didn't mention with the flashback was that moment. I think it was the first moment she saw Kylo, like you said, in her vision. It seemed like she was being attacked, but then he stabbed the person who was attacking her.
Yeah.
So was he trying to save her, or maybe is that a nod to like future films?
Girl, I swear, those days were so fun. It was like trying to figure out what's going on here. Is this the future? Is this the past? Is this just a vision where she's seeing that eventually he will protect her in some kind of way? I don't know. Because like we thought this was a Knight of Ren that he was turning against and killing for her, which now that I'm saying that out loud,
that's why I said, is it a nod to
kind of
previous
connecting
films?
certain dots for me with certain events coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. It was so much fun. But I'll come back for you, sweetheart, I promise.
Yeah.
Is a sentence.
But do we find out then?
No, that's one thing that will always haunt us. We don't know who said it. We never will.
Don't say never. Listen, I will make one thing very clear here. Ben Solo is not dead. Ben Solo will come back, and I'm fully waiting for movies 10 to 12. Thank you.
Random question. The name Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. Why the name change?
To fully divorce himself from his true identity. Kind of like Darth Maul, Darth Vader. Like, you kind of pick a name when you make the switch to the dark side. Ben is from Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was,
Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, a friend of the family, so he's named after him, which means hope. Yeah. Which means
interesting.
He is the hope of the galaxy, and obviously Solo for Han Solo. So the only hope is what his name really means. And coming out of that vision that she has, Maz finds her. And boy, oh boy, do we get another sentence here. Another quote.
Honestly, the amount of sentences in this whole movie that, like, stays with me forever, I feel it.
She says, "Dear child, whomever you're waiting for on Jakku, they're never coming back. But there's someone who still could." And then Rey says, "Luke." But Maz doesn't say yes, it's Luke. She says instead, "The belonging you seek is not behind you, it is ahead." Meaning someone she has not met yet, or at least that's how we all interpreted it.
Yeah.
This is a huge quote, okay, for Reylo, because it's like she is looking for a belonging, but she is looking in the wrong places and with the wrong people, or at least so far she has. But there's someone who still could come back.
Ben Solo.
From the dark side is the end of that sentence, at least for me.
I mean, for me as well. But I mean, if you really just wanted to, like, watch it for what it was and not look at it in any deep way, or, you know, not read between the lines, you'd be like, yeah, it's Luke. That's who she's talking about.
But it's not. But, well, I mean, if this movie leaves you thinking that it could be, the next movie definitely lets you know that it's not Luke that's gonna come back.
No.
For her. So that only leaves one person.
I know.
I don't know why I'm acting like we don't know how this ends.
Okay, honestly, we need to stop with this, like, because we're just, like, throwing theories at, like, S, and, like, it's just, like, it's too much. So let's just, like, talk about it and, like, you know.
Yeah. But when Maz says something like, "The belonging you seek is not behind you, it is ahead," like, did you have any, like, oh, I wonder who that is then, or no?
Or you're like, next scene, let's go.
Yeah, next scene, let's go. That's how it was for me.
Well, next scene, let's go.
To the forest?
The beasts arrive on Takodana.
The scene, their first interaction.
Mr. Kylo Ren has arrived on Takodana to retrieve the girl. This is their first meeting.
The girl he's heard
so much about.
No, and it's like she's running and, like, she hears him and she's, like, running.
Yeah. You hear the purr of his lightsaber in the forest, and so hot.
Yeah, and she's faced with him right away, and she's afraid because she's heard all she could about Kylo Ren.
And listen, this is the beginning of, like, the sexual innuendos between those two, where he literally puts his phallic-like lightsaber right next to her mouth, okay?
Oh, Lord.
What was the intention? 5 years later, what was the intention? If not
to threaten her with a good time.
I mean, it has to be.
That's
like
funny.
the lightsabers are like it's kind of like a joke, but like not really a joke. But like we all know that it's kind of like it's phallic-like. Like I mean, swords are in general kind of seen as like representation of that men's ding ding ding.
So did all the fans go crazy with that moment with the?
I mean, the Reylos that have like a little trash can. Yeah, at that point we did go crazy.
We were all hosts for that moment. We were like, what is he doing here? Why is his lightsaber like right up next to her mouth? Like, what is the point? What was he trying to do with that move?
I don't know, but the whole scene was just filled with like the sexual energy. I don't even know if it's sexual energy at that point, but like this intense, palpable chemistry, despite like him wearing a mask and like her being closed off and afraid. I just feel like, I don't know, there was just like something there, like from that moment you noticed it and you're like, yeah.
The fact that he's hidden away is so hot. Like the fact that you don't see him,
you don't even see his hands because they highlight his leather gloves as he reaches out.
You don't even see his hands. He's fully incognito. You don't know what he looks like, and yet the two of them are capable of creating that sexual energy and chemistry between them. Did you feel it as right then?
I felt it.
Like when he reaches out and you hear the gloves, you're like, oh.
Yeah. So he tries to use the Force to look into her brain, see where the BB unit is. And then like they do this like clever little cut.
Ugh, Don't even. This is another thing that's gonna haunt me, yes.
Where 1 second it's his hand, 1 second it's his hand trying to pry her mind, and then it cuts, and he's so up close to her suddenly. His head is right in her neck.
He's like right by her ear. He bent down.
Why?
What was he saying to her, guys?
Do you understand, Ass, the torture that we went through? Where we only had this to go off of, and we were like, why is he so
I can
close?
imagine.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, like last time we're gonna talk about like these theories and like, how
No, we're
far
not. This is not the last time.
That's not going to be
It's
the
not
last
gonna
No,
time.
it's
be
not.
the
I lied.
time.
But like Marge and I would literally like just listen to theories on YouTube, and we would like, I feel like we'd be like video chatting at the same time, and we would just be listening to them, and like it'd be like maybe 2 hours long. And we would be like talking about it because we're like, yes, this is exactly what we see. There's a heart with the trees, like there's heart
it's
eyes,
incoming.
and like.
I'm coming with that one. Don't you
Anyways,
worry. I'm gonna mention it.
Yeah, it was just a lot.
I mean, to be fair, in the commentary, in JJ's commentary of this movie, the scene on Takodana, he literally describes Rey as a princess running down the castle steps, and then he literally says, and then the prince arrives. Like, how we were supposed to not put 2 and 2 together? Sir, I have seen Beauty and the Beast. Sir,
Yeah.
I have seen Disney movies. Sir, this is a Disney movie.
It is a Disney movie. But honestly, I can confidently say I've only listened to the commentary for these, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And also Twilight movies. Like, those are the only movies in the whole
Yeah.
wide world that I've listened to commentaries for.
I think so too, for me, yeah. So there's that cut where he's like really up close, all in her neck, like sniffing her out through his neck, through his mask, I guess. I don't know what he was doing.
I think he's like, my soulmate. I sniff it.
It's also kind of hot that she can't move. It's kind of like force bondage. Force bondage should be, it's probably
That's what I want to read.
Oh,
where
there is all over.
That's what I want.
Archives of Our Own. You'll find it.
Yeah.
You should look for the tag inappropriate use of the Force.
I honestly did read a fic also where like
He fucks her with the
hilt of his
lightsaber. Yeah.
lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many.
Find the link, Seff.
And his lightsaber is thick. It's a
And
big, long
veiny.
lightsaber.
And veiny because of the
Veiny,
wires.
Yeah, it has veins. It literally has a vein. We should send her, go look up close-ups of his lightsaber, Seff, please.
Okay.
To send to the chat.
Here, I'll send it to you.
Anyways, so from this cut, we jump to him suddenly deciding that I'm gonna wait for Seff to find the picture before we dive into this next moment because it's iconic. Like, tell me that this is not a sexual thing. It has a vein.
Do you not see the red vein running
I
up
see
the
it.
shaft?
I get it, girls. I understand now.
Yeah. So you'll understand that when she eventually uses his saber, we all fucking died.
You can't talk about anything yet.
Sorry.
Like, you're the worst, Marge.
Remember that episode on spoilers? There you go. That's me spoiling everything. Anyways, she'll forget, right? That's you, I didn't say anything, right?
Continue.
Anyways, so
Let's move on.
Seff,
Mhm.
what is the iconic moment that follows?
The bridal carry? The bridal fucking carry.
But wait, a little bit before that, I love the way where he's talking to her and he gets interrupted. And he steps around her and like covers her
Yeah.
when whoever
Yeah,
comes.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And like kind of hides her a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he does his little hand thing.
You
and
know,
then she
like,
falls.
you saying that, are you like kind of alluding to like the whole like, getting caught in a compromising position? The gentlemanly act is to cover the woman who is in a compromising position.
That's the whole vibes I got.
Ooh.
He absolutely does. And so it's funny because we see that there's two stormtrooper right there who he could very much ask to just like pick up the girl and bring her to my ship type of thing.
Or
but no.
use the force, because we know he's strong with it.
Right.
He could just have the force carry her to the ship.
Yeah, but no, he's like, I'm gonna carry her. Why not? So
And let me send you the official, I think you already sent it to her, the official, like,
No, I didn't
Star Wars
send
art
it.
of that moment.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I couldn't find it. Official art, S. Official art. Tell me it doesn't look like a romance novel cover.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Official.
That's the official, yeah.
They made it more romantic than it is in the movie.
So romantic. It looks like it's a cover for like an 80s romance novel.
Yeah, this is something I would like to have on my wall. Like, this is nice to look at.
So my man decides to carry her himself like a bride
After he says we have everything we need.
after he
Meaning
says we have
her.
everything we need. And he's supposed to be looking for that BB unit, mind you. Has he
Yeah.
been looking for that? No. And he's like,
No.
I think I'm gonna spend more time with her actually and bring her back to my lair.
Because he does say, in all fairness, he does say, like, she's seen the map, so we can find answers from her. But,
He could have done it right then and there. He just
I
wanted
know.
more time. As he's carrying her, and this is like bringing you again us into like 2016 speculation time, there is a rendition of the Romeo and Juliet theme playing as he's bringing her to his ship. It's
Right?
It's literally
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, no, I didn't catch that.
And then, again, I really like tinfoil tiaras on.
I feel like I'm being thrown back to 2015. It's bizarre.
But then we have a shot of Kylo's ship in the sky with 4 ships in front of it, which everyone was speculating was very Hades with the Hades carriage with the 4 horses being like, and this was like the Hades and Persephone moment where she's taken off this green planet and she's, the light force and he's the
Ooh.
dark king or prince, bringing her back to his lair to the underworld of Snoke's ship.
But also, I also really, this was something I think a lot of people talked about. Like, we cut to seeing Kylo and Rey in Han's perspective, and like
Yeah.
Han Solo is seeing his son take away this girl that he's supposed to be protecting, and he doesn't do
Yeah.
anything about it. He just sees it and he's like, oh.
Finn is like panicked, like, did you see he took Rey? And Han is like, yeah.
It's my son. He's not a
Completely
beautiful woman. It's
unbothered.
my son.
So then the speculation was like, well, because Maz, when they're with Maz in the castle, she says, who's that girl? So the speculation was like, do they somehow know that she's going to be fine with Kylo because XYZ or something?
Yeah, first meeting with Kylo unmasked.
Oh, yeah. No, hold on a minute. Wait, we get that lovely scene of Han and Leia reuniting.
Oh, okay, fine.
And Leia
yes.
says, there's still light in him. I know it. The mom knows the truth, okay?
Mom knows the truth, and I think right off the bat we can see Mom and Dad's different mindsets when it comes to his fall. And like Han Solo is very like negative, not negative about it, but like very like he's lost all hope, and he basically says there's too much Vader in him. And Leia is like she just wants him back, and she says that she regrets sending him away, and she's like that's when I lost him. And Han Solo also says, we lost our son forever. And Leia's like, no, it was Snoke. He seduced our son to the dark side, but we can still save him. So like right off the bat, you see like Leia is very hopeful about like her son's return, like eventual return. She wants that to happen. Whereas like Han is like, I failed him and I don't see how I can like pull him back, and he's too far gone.
But also you see why Ben might have ended up the way that he did when you see how they both cope with difficult situations where Han Solo just runs away from his problems and avoids them.
Yeah.
And Leia just throws herself into work and into the
Yeah.
resistance. So both of them saw that there was something with their son, that there was something trying to seduce their son to the dark side, that, there was something happening there. And neither of them actually did what the son needed, which was...
No. They sent him away.
Yeah,
That
they
when
sent
they
him
saw
away.
like his like struggle with the dark side, they're like, "Oh, go to your Uncle Luke."
Yeah.
And that was the worst thing they could have done.
Damn.
And also, guys, can we not mention Han Solo has been away from his wife for how many years? And this man's like, yeah, we did what we had to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you left her.
So they're just separated? Like they weren't like space divorced or whatever?
It's space divorce.
Yeah, he went and did his smuggling and his thieving. And then, yeah, Leia, like you said, threw herself into her work.
Interesting.
So then we get the scene, capitalized, the interrogation scene.
Yeah.
And this scene is particularly interesting when you contrast it to the scene where Kylo interrogates Poe.
Oh. Yeah.
And how dark and violent that scene is, where he's masked, versus here, where the light, the room is, you know, much brighter. He's crouching down as opposed to being, you know, towering over her.
The opposing figure, yeah.
Yeah, and so she wakes up and she says, "Where am I?" And he says, "You're my guest."
I know.
Remember that Beauty and the Beast thing? Here we are. You're my guest.
I see it.
And she, you know, he says something about like, I don't remember what he says, but then she says like, that happens when you're being hunted by a creature in a mask. Oh yeah, because he says, you still want to kill me. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Right away, he's like, okay, then I guess I'll take it off.
Yeah, this man full on took off his mask, which he's never taken off for anyone besides probably Snoke.
Yeah.
He takes it off for Rey.
For her.
And we see Kylo Ren's face for the first time and all of his luscious locks for the first time.
Tell me this is not a shampoo commercial.
I need to know Kylo Ren's hair
Seriously?
product, you know, regime. Like how does that go every day?
He has no right looking that good taking off a mask.
And his lips, Adam Driver's
His
lips,
lips.
They're
guys.
pouty.
Yeah.
They're pink.
Holy shit.
Very pouty.
Kylo Ren's lips are begging to be kissed.
How do you feel? Because I know how I felt when I saw that scene the first time.
I know how I feel too.
Very interested and intrigued. Very. Yeah, I said I loved his hair, the way he took it off, and it was just like this poof.
Did you expect him to look as attractive as he did when the mask came off?
Okay, so this is the thing. Like I've seen this before. Like I've come across. So it wasn't me seeing that. The first couple times or whatever, it wasn't. There's no attraction there. There was no. You know, I wasn't different towards it.
No, but I mean,
But
this
now,
let her finish.
now it's a different perspective. I'm actually looking and paying attention, and I like what I'm seeing.
That's great to know.
Love to hear it.
Love it. Yeah. I mean, this is something that could be posed to you, as well. Like, did you expect this fearsome Kylo Ren to be like so princely looking, so beautiful, like luscious lips, like tinted the right pink, and like he has like beautiful luscious locks. His eyes are just like, he just looks well put together. He has a good sleep schedule. Like he's beautiful.
So here's a live reenactment of me in 2015 seeing this movie for the first time in cinema. I'm sitting there, you know, I've seen the prequels, I've seen the OGs or OTs, and I'm sitting there, you know, and he's got his mask on, and, you know, you see he's about to take it off, which is like, what? He's about to take it off now? And I'm thinking, like, back to Darth Vader taking off his mask. And that is not a pretty sight. That is not a pretty sight.
No, and he needed it to help him breathe. For Kylo, it's a very aesthetic purpose. Like, that's the only purpose it has.
It's a costume for him. It's an armor, you know. He's putting it on to hide, basically, and to try to push himself deeper into the dark side. I'm thinking, like, he's gonna be butt ugly, because I didn't know. I didn't know it was Adam Driver. I had no idea who was playing this character up until that moment, which was great. Like, I had the best surprise, but really, like, the best experience. So, live reenactment.
Okay. And scene.
He takes off the mask, right?
Yeah.
I went, oh.
Stop! I was waiting for like a huge gasp.
He's
or something.
hot, though. That was my reaction. No, it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting like scarred, kind of like decaying
Exactly.
flesh, just gray looking and like half dead looking. And then you have this princely man under the mask. His hair is looking gorgeous. His lips are red, like you said, and pouty. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Exactly.
Okay, this just changed everything for me now. That was my reaction.
So this was an awakening for you, for both of you?
Oh, yeah.
One.
Majorly, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like, I think I was very much like you, Marge. Like, I knew like he was casted as like a character, but I don't think they announced who's playing who or whatever. So like I saw him and I was like, oh, you know, like it was just like whatever. Like I wasn't like at all. I didn't know of him. I didn't know of his work, of course, when he was casted. So I was like, oh, whatever. Anyways, yeah, I was like, holy shit, he's hot, and that's when I was fully on board, like you said, Marge, with this Reylo ship. He also never had any like dark side, I guess, features. Like usually, like Anakin Skywalker, he had like the reddish eyes, or like, you know, like his eyes got darker, and then, you know, there's like,
Well, because he was a Sith. Kylo is not a Sith, so.
so like I guess like does that indicate that Kylo never made that, obviously, like that full transition to the dark side?
He never fully committed. He can't bring
Yeah.
himself to. And you know, that was our reaction, but funnily enough, it's also Rey's reaction in the actual movie, because she literally looks him up and down.
Checks
You
him
can
out
see it in her
hard.
eyes that she goes, "Why
Yeah.
is he hot though?"
Yeah. And then he gets like all up close and personal, and
Yeah, and he says the line that sends shivers down my spine.
mine too.
He says, "You know I can take whatever I want."
And then he also says, "Don't be afraid. I feel it too."
Well, that's later on. Like, why is he saying this?
But the lines he says in this one scene, it's just like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of lines
Powerful.
in this scene, but like, why is he saying this? We're
yeah.
continuing on with like, I'm sorry, I'm not making it sexual. It is sexual, okay?
Mhm. And his voice is so
Ugh.
like raspy and like low in this moment.
You know what? I mean, I think I knew this, but since like I said, it had been such a long time since I, you know, last watched the Force Awakens. It kind of like I kind of like realized that he changes his voice for this character. Adam Driver
Yeah.
changes his voice. Like, he has a voice for Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. Like, it's not his voice.
He's such a talented actor. Yeah.
And it's so incredibly noticeable in sentences like, you know, I can take whatever I want. Like, if Adam Driver was saying that line, he wouldn't say it like that at all.
Mm-mm.
But there's just like a princely aspect to the way he speaks, you know. It's not like, you don't hear his like Midwestern American accent. It's like, you know, I don't know, it's I love it. Anyway,
yeah, no, I
fangirling
love
for a
it.
moment there. S, how do you feel when that line happens?
Very horny.
It's like that gif. What is it? Horny and scared. and horny?
Scared.
Horny and scared.
Not
and
scared
horny.
though, just horny.
No, just horny. As this was a scene I was talking about where like you can see like the heart eyes as he's talking to Rey.
Oh my
Like the
God,
light
yes.
reflecting in his eyes were like little hearts. And I'm telling you, every Reylo fan was like,
Yeah.
it's a sign.
There's
Everything's a
hearts in
sign.
his eyes.
But that was a sign.
But then, as is, you know, his habit, apparently, when it comes to Rey, he gets really up close and personal again. He's like, I can't stay away. I must get
He
closer.
really
I must get a
can't.
whiff, you know. So again, he's right there, right next to her face. Right next to her face. He's looking at her lips. You can see he's looking at her lips. He's looking at her chest. You can see he's looking at her chest. And he starts reading her mind. And instead of actually doing the thing that he said he was going to do, aka look for the
map.
whereabouts of the BB unit, or sorry, looking for the map.
The map.
Instead, he starts peering into her her trauma. You know, he starts looking at what has this girl gone through.
Yeah.
And like he says, you're so lonely, so afraid to
Yeah.
leave. that's when he says, "Don't be afraid, I feel it too." Like, this boy right away, he's trying to connect with her. He's like, I am lonely too. I am afraid to leave too. I feel it too. Don't be afraid. I feel whatever's going on between us.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
This boy latched on to her feeling of loneliness, and he's like, yeah, I feel that.
Same.
I just love it. He has a one-track mind when it comes to Rey. He's like, work? I don't know. What was I supposed to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I'm just connecting with this girl.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then she says, "I'm not giving you anything." And he says, "We'll see."
But also during that scene, he peers into Rey's mind, and he also sees, like, I guess, this like budding connection she feels with Han Solo, who we know at this point is his own father. And this is after that whole discussion with Leia and Han. And Kylo basically says, he would have disappointed her, and kind of implying his own father disappointed him, / maybe like wasn't there for him, confirming Han's guilt he seems to be carrying as well in that moment.
So in that moment, a door is actually opened between their minds, though it was kind of always there, but it's fully opened, where she is taking in some of his knowledge, and he's kind of taking in some of her baggage. There's sharing of information happening.
Sharing of trauma and...
Sharing of trauma, sharing of emotions, sharing of information and knowledge about the Force, the ways of the Force. She's kind of like downloading information, basically, in that moment.
Yeah.
And she pushes back, right? She kind of taps into a little bit of darkness here. Rey taps into the dark really easily, just as he taps into the light just as easily, because neither of them is really ever fully committed to one side, or at least they think they are, but are they really? So yeah, and she says, you're afraid that you will never be as strong as Darth Vader. So she taps, he was calling out all her trauma, and she's like, right back at you. And he stops, and he has this like moment where he's like, scared of horny.
Clutches his pearls.
Literally, he's like, oh, what the hell? So the difference between this interrogation scene and the one with Poe is just, this was something that we kept pointing out, circa 2015, 2016, because it was like, look at the difference, with one, it's violent, it's dark, he's masked, he's like pushing Poe like further into the chair and like hitting his head, and with Rey, it's all like, oh, you lead the way, babe.
It seems very gentle.
Yes.
And it's very like push and pull, like it's an equal like give and take at this point, and like despite Rey being in constraints, she holds the power from the beginning when he kneels at her feet.
Literally. So he leaves, scared, horny, leaving, running away in that moment.
Virgin Boy is very horny and very scared.
And he goes to see his master, and his master is not happy with him. And basically, Kylo says, and we are referring to him as Kylo for the most part in this episode, because, he is Kylo at this point in the story. But he says Snoke says the scavenger resisted you. I just love that line. And Kylo replies, she's strong with the Force, untrained but stronger than she knows. And if that's not a quote on a t-shirt somewhere, untrained but stronger than she knows.
Yep.
And for your information, in the book, there's an added line here where Snoke peers into Kylo's mind and says, you have compassion for her. And compassion is a very important word in the Star Wars world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explain what compassion is?
Compassion leads to love. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's the unconditional love. You know when Anakin says that?
Oh my gosh, you say it because I don't remember. It was so long
I don't
ago.
remember word for word either, but it's like Anakin basically tells Padme.
Oh yes, and Attack. What is it? The second one.
Yeah, episode 2, that compassion he would describe as unconditional love.
Yes.
And so the use of the word compassion here is interesting. It wasn't in the movie, but it was in the book, and the book is canon. So.
S is like, oh, fun fact. The more you know.
Right? It's literally that gift. The more you know. Rey manages to leave, uses the Force, uses her new Force abilities that she got from Kylo to, what's it called when they Force...
Jedi mind trick?
Yeah, that one. The Jedi mind trick. To escape, and we just get that shot of Kylo coming back to the room thinking like Bae is still gonna be there, and then Bae is not there, and he's like, she left me.
Guys, when he comes in, he sees it empty, and he's like, no. Like, he's wearing his mask, so you hear like the deep mechanical voice.
He's panicking,
and it's like, he's like, no. And then this man literally, like, it was so hot, I had to rewind it 3 times to be exact. Him rolling his shoulders back, like, you know, he's like full of anger, like he's like rolling his shoulders back, brings out his lightsaber, and like, you know, he is hella angry, and it's like
he literally roars, and then he like starts fucking up the whole room. Basically.
No, but for me it was the rolling of the shoulders, because it was like, it was so high. And do you think, obviously yes, the reason he's angry is that he lost the girl, but also Snoke had said, bring the girl to me. Mm-hmm. Which would imply that she would be spending more time with Kylo if she gets trained by Snoke, so they would kind of be together in a sense. But now he's lost her.
You have to understand that this is probably one of the first people that actually is Force sensitive to the same level that he's ever met, besides like his parents, well, his mom,
and also like the first person I think he's met in terms of like, I guess they're like that he connected with, in the sense of like their loneliness.
Oh, he's but just like connected with as well, like just
at all.
But through the Force as well. So this was huge for him. Like he felt like he had found possibly someone who could understand him, and she left
a belonging in a way.
This that you seek, that is not behind you but ahead.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, like his vision is very warped. So like, obviously, like it's just not in the way that we envision it in the future. For him, it's a very dark connection in a way. Like it would just,
He lost her. She left, and then we get a brief line that has never hurt more than after 2019, which is Leia telling Han to bring our son home. And that line didn't used to hurt as much as it does now. I'ma just say that.
Tearing up again, guys. So Han and Chewie are there to blow up the weapon that, you know, will destroy where the resistance base is. And we've seen the weapon in action as it destroyed it was the Republic, right? That was funding the resistance. And we saw that massacre, so we know what it can do. So Han and Chewie are doing that while Finn is on his way to rescue Rey, who's basically rescued herself at this point. And Han sees Kylo on a bridge, and he decides to approach his son.
A literal bridge. You know the thing that connects 2 points? You know, the thing, like the literal representation of one soul hovering somewhere in between the dark and the light. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. And so this is the first time Han Solo and, you know,
his son reconnect.
Ben have seen each other in years. And how does it go, guys?
So he screams out Ben. And is that not the first time we hear his name in the whole movie?
Yeah.
His actual name, that we figure out that he's called Ben.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he says, Han Solo, I've been waiting a long time for this, something like that, for this moment to happen or whatever. He's not talking about him as if it's his father. He's literally just saying Han Solo. And then Han says, take off that mask. And Kylo says, what do you think you'll see if I do? And Han says, the face of my son. So Kylo takes off his mask. Again, great unmasking. He looks amazing. He's like painted in red. It's great.
The
I
fact
love
that
it.
he's not sweaty in that mask, what is the ventilation like? Like, I don't get it.
Sweaty Kylo is the next movie. We're not there yet.
I'm just saying, amazing ventilation. Mask,
Amazing.
A+ on manufacturing that mask.
Basically, Kylo says, I'm being torn apart. I want to be free of this pain. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
I know.
Will you help me? And he very much looks like a lost little boy in that moment. He does. And the lighting is masterful, how it's done in this scene, because he's painted in red, but then you have where Rey and Finn just entered, this ray, or I guess this like
ray of light,
literally, because it's where Rey is standing, and it's light. So it's like possibility, hope for redemption, for turning back to the light side, and it comes from Rey, which is like hello.
Her name, obviously, I feel like was very much on the nose this whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
For him, ray of light.
Yeah, and he holds out his lightsaber to Han, and Han puts his hand on it, and as he does, the ray of light goes out. The light goes out, and as the light goes out, you see Kylo come to, or I guess, because he was gonna change his mind in that moment, and that's been said by JJ. Like, he was truly contemplating turning back to the light in that moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he really was. But then he didn't. It wasn't the moment. And the light goes out, and you see it in his face that he changes his mind, and he goes even deeper into the dark, and it's all red again, and he kills his dad. So, S, you mentioned this scene earlier.
Yeah, that was sad. Because, like how you explained it, you see him kind of childlike. And
he's very childlike. And the tears in his eyes, too.
So I thought he was... So that's interesting, because I thought he was manipulating the dad.
He really was contemplating turning back.
Well, that makes it even more sad.
Yeah.
And, like, Han, like, that unconditional love of a father. Like, you see, he's like, it's okay. Like, it'll be fine. We have you. We'll support you. And then, like, it just wasn't enough at that moment.
Yeah. And Kylo, after he kills him, he literally says thank you.
Yeah.
As this like evil music is playing, which I love that piece of music so much. That he says thank you, because he truly believes for that fraction of a moment that killing his dad will make him stronger in the dark side. He thinks that. And you have that shot of Han caressing his face, and in the book it specifically says that Han forgave him in that moment. He forgave him right away for killing him. And it doesn't take but a moment for Kylo to realize that killing his dad didn't make him stronger, it made him weaker.
You see it on his face, that little flinch.
Right away he's plagued by grief and pain at losing his father, and probably feeling his mom's anguish as well through the Force. So yeah, and Uncle Chewie shoots Kylo, which, like, Chewie raised Ben. Like, he was Uncle Chewie. Like, they had a relationship.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Chewie shoots him in that moment. That is so sad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's sad, but, like, I mean, Chewie lost his best friend that he's had for, like, all these years, and they've been through so much together. But, like, back to, like, the whole scene of, like, Kylo's supposed full fall to the dark side. I hate J.J. Abrams, y'all know that, but, like, we can't deny that he didn't do a good job in this scene. Like, I think he did a really good job was showing his supposed fall. And like we said, we talked about the light and like how he appeared younger. And I just feel like it's just done so well in this moment. Like this scene is masterful in that sense. And I loved seeing like Han caress like Kylo's face in that moment, or Ben's face. For him, that was Ben. And it like obviously foreshadows the cut on his face from Rey in the next segment, which I mean obviously could be like seen as the scar that is left within him for killing his own father. But it's like externally, visible.
Yeah, so from this we skip to they're back in the forest, and Finn and Rey are confronted with Kylo.
Yeah.
Who's like, we're not done yet. He's fully in his like angry era.
And he keeps hitting his wound.
He keeps hitting his wound to fuel his rage.
Yeah,
and that was so hot. I know it's not supposed to be hot, but I'm like...
But it is hot. Yeah.
It's so hot.
Yeah. So as what that was about is that basically, like we said, he thought it would make him stronger, but it actually weakened him. So he's hitting his wound to fuel his pain and thus fueling his rage. To like try to push himself further into the dark through pain, which is like kind of intense when you think about it.
Yeah. And not allowing himself to feel, the grief.
Yeah.
Of losing his father, of killing his father, sorry.
Yeah. So Kylo starts doing all these like lightsaber twirls, which I've really missed. Hot, but like I really missed them. Like he does them a lot in this movie and then never again, I feel like. Well, no, that's not true, but like, you know what I mean. It's so dramatic. He's just so dramatic in this movie. I love it. Anyway, he has this like, he pushes Rey into a tree, which is the first and only time he's ever hurt her.
Yeah.
Or will ever hurt her the entire trilogy.
He would never.
But he was mostly just trying to get her out of the way.
Yes, and also, like we said, he's full of rage, full of pain, and he is just over it all.
Yeah, and I love that Finn picks up the lightsaber and Kylo says, "That lightsaber belongs to me."
Yeah.
Because it does, baby. I'm kidding.
I love the way he says it because first of all, it's a family heirloom, okay? So don't be touching that, except his future wife, which can touch it, because he doesn't actually mind that much.
Future wife can touch dick, for sure. Can touch his dick, for sure.
But when it's Finn, no. That's a major no.
And I love how, like, in their fight scene, Kylo is playing with Finn. Like, you can tell, like,
oh, yeah.
Kylo's like, I can kill you in 2 seconds.
Girl, he literally punches Finn, which is the biggest fuck you. It's like, I don't even need to use the force with you. I can punch the shit out of you.
I know. I love it. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't love it, but I do.
It's great. He really is toying with Finn, because Finn doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And again, like, I just love the physicality of Kylo Ren. Well, I guess Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, where it's like, he's using his whole body, and it becomes even more obvious like later on, but his lightsaber feels so heavy in his hand, you know what I mean? Like the way he's fighting, it's like it's hitting and hitting hard.
One thing I really picked up with this movie, like him in full armor, him even just like in his Kylo Ren moments, he's heavy. You hear the footsteps. You feel how heavy this like moniker of Kylo Ren is for Ben Solo, and like certain moments, and like it's so weird, you hear it and you see him move with like not with grace at all. He is heavy everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So remember when Finn picks up the lightsaber and he goes, "That lightsaber belongs to me"? Well, when Rey wakes up and she grabs the lightsaber, he literally falls in love.
His heart eyes, like I'm telling you, I see heart eyes.
Like that look. If you watch any of Adam Driver's movies ever, okay, when he does the like I'm in love look, it's
his
that
look of love.
It's that look. He has like a look for when his character falls in love, and that's that look. And he's literally amazed. Like he's just looking at her, heart eyes, just absolutely entranced by the fact that this woman has grabbed the lightsaber and she looks
grabbed
good
his
doing
dick.
it. His dick, his family. No.
Okay,
maybe
no,
not.
let's not.
The family jewels.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, like, you see the difference, Us? It's like, suddenly he's like, wow, she just did that. Did anyone else see that? Like, did
My
anyone
wife
else
did
see
that,
what Bay
guys.
just did?
No, and yeah. And that was like the moment that switched for him. He was like, I can work with this. I can teach you.
Yes, and again, they start fighting, and it's very much, he's toying with her again. He's trying to push her to see what she can do, how she can fight. She's very much the one, like, on the offensive, maybe more so towards the latter part of this fight. But, like, but he's very much, like, toying. He's not really trying to hurt. He's just trying to, like, let's see what we can do together.
I think you're right on the nose with that, where he's like literally seeing what she can do. Like, she's very much full of anger, full of rage. She's the one attacking, and he's the one that's kind of like, is it partying? Like,
but at first she's not necessarily attacking. She's kind of like running away.
She's running away, but yeah, like later, like the later half of the fight for sure.
And then they have this moment at the cliff's edge where he's kind of, they're locking, their lightsabers are locking, like, again, sexual innuendos, if you will, and swords crossing and all that.
They're hopeless.
And he could literally kill her in that moment, right? He could kill her 10 ways if he wanted to.
Yeah, because she has her eyes closed. She's trying to like tune into the Force, and this man's just gazing at her face and telling her, "I can teach you the ways of the Force."
Yeah, you need a
And he's
teacher.
just
I can teach you the ways of the Force. Like, he could kill her, and yet he does not. He takes that moment to look at her and just give her the moment that she needs. He's just like, take whatever time you need, babe. I'm waiting. Like, what? Like, we know he could use the Force to freeze her in place. He could do all that. He's shown throughout the movie that he can do those things, and yet he chooses not to.
Like, he obviously doesn't deserve a gold star, guys. We're not like shut up. Yes, but also we know, like, he has done bad things, but at the same time he has chosen not to do certain things.
No, this is a Kylo Ren, we are Kylo Ren apologists.
Yeah.
Here. So
yeah. If that's a problem, I mean, you've made it so far into the episode. Sorry.
So she comes out of that, like, Force trance where she was like connecting with the Force, whatever. And that's when she makes the turn, and you see how Rey it's very easy for her to tap into the dark side as well. And that's when she goes really on the offensive, and he's the one backing away. He's like, whoa. And they have that, like, really nice yin and yang imagery where, like, his lightsaber is being, is it his? Yeah, it's his. The dark side is being pulled down, and the light side is being pulled up through the blue lightsaber and the red lightsaber.
And they make a perfect diagonal line.
They make a perfect yin-yang sign, yeah. And that's when he gets the sexy scar, because of course he needed a sexy scar.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Which she gives him. She gives him the sexy scar.
She really cuts him down, puts him on his knees.
Literally, yeah.
In that moment. And as she goes for, like, the killing blow, the ground opens up between them. Meaning the Force doesn't want... The Force is like, nah, not happening. You're not killing him. That's not happening.
And that's when the cliff is, like, literally heart-shaped between them.
Where are you girls seeing these hearts? I saw no damn hearts.
Tinfoil hats.
I'm gonna go back to the freaking movie and
You're
just
gonna have to, like,
Girl, no, but for real, the cliff is like 100% heart-shaped, okay? The little,
Force
like,
is like, you guys need to have some love between you.
yeah, the hearts in the eyes during the interrogation scene, like, one could argue against that, but, like, the cliff is a literal heart, okay?
They could have edited the heart eyes out of Adam Driver's eyes in that scene post-production if they wanted to, but they didn't.
They could have, but they chose to edit them in. so so they wouldn't take him out.
Exactly. So, anyways, end of movie. That's it. The end. I'm kidding.
I mean, kind of is though. That's where my notes end. I'm like, the rest of it, I don't care.
Yeah. But anyways, Kylo is left on the cliff. Rey goes with Chewie and Finn into the Millennium Falcon. And then we see Finn basically in a coma, and Rey meets Leia for the first time, and they hug. They have a hug. And I guess it's their shared grief.
Future mother-in-law.
Yes, mother-in-law, sure. But like their shared grief of losing Han.
Yeah.
And then Rey, well, R2-D2 wakes up, and then the rest of the map is there, and Rey is on this quest now to bring back Luke Skywalker, and she makes it to Ahch-To, where she finally sees Luke Skywalker, the hero of the galaxy, for the first time.
So, as Force Awakens is over, Reylo, thoughts? Go.
I wanted to start the second movie.
Ooh,
after I
wow.
finished it.
Okay. Interesting.
Just for the Kylo and Rey.
Oh, you'll be served.
Just,
You'll be served.
How did you feel about, like, the end of their arcs individually by the end of this movie?
I'm just looking forward to seeing how their story continues. Because I'm still left wondering more about Rey.
The director of the next movie, when he watched The Force Awakens and he was writing The Last Jedi, his kind of like jumping off point was the interrogation scene. Like for him, he said that there was something there that was interesting to him, that there was something to do with that.
Between them two?
Yeah. Between whatever's going on there, like how can we explore this further? What does it mean? What happened at that moment, and how can we explain it? So it's definitely a part of the next movie.
Well, I mean, join us next week as we talk about unprotected sex and all things Reylo. Happens.
Wait a minute, what? What do you mean unprotected sex, Seff?
You'll
Explain
just have
yourself.
to watch and see.
What do you mean?
So you definitely see it as like romantic here, or like potentially romantic
yeah.
eventually.
I saw some things, I felt some things.
You
I'm
felt
intrigued.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
Things were felt.
All right, well that's good to know. I'm very happy. It looks like
Me
our
too.
trying to convince us to become a Reylo Part 1 might just
Yeah.
need a Part 1. We might not need a Part 2 and 3. We
Well,
will do
we'll
it
still
anyway,
them
though.
anyway, don't worry.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you'll join us for Part 2, The Last Jedi. Whenever that happens, I don't quite know as we're recording this how we're gonna post the episodes. So I don't know if it will be like back to back, one every week, or if there will be other episodes in between. But nonetheless, hopefully you'll join us for them. Maybe we'll have guests. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Maybe. Yeah. In the meantime, if you want to reach us online to let us know how you feel about Reylo. Or Kylo, Rey, these movies in general, or if you're still very salty about them, feel free to reach us online. On Instagram, it's Romancing the Monsters Podcast. On Twitter, it's the RTM Pod. TikTok is TikTok is Romancing the Monsters Pod, and Gmail is romancingthemonsterspodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on YouTube. Just search for the name of our podcast, and you should be able to find us. And feel free to subscribe while you're on there. Why not? Also, if you're looking for me specifically, I'm on both Twitter and Instagram at Foes and Lovers.
And you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at ButThisBook.
And you can find me, Seff, on both Instagram and Twitter at Pros with Woes. And also, if you would like to subscribe on any of the podcast platforms, that would mean the world. And you can also leave reviews on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, if you would like, and if you have the
So
time.
see you next week, guys.
Bye. Bye.